We just finished the FOMC meeting a few minutes ago, and here is a breakdown of what was discussed. Well, first and foremost, the interest rate remained unchanged at 3.75%. We can see here that it was also 3.75% last time. Before there was 4%, before that 4.25%, and before that around 5% for a good couple of months. Now, I do think that in the next meeting, we have a high chance of reducing the interest rate again, but I understand that Jerome Powell would not want to reduce the rate for now to keep inflation intact. And as we know, if we reduce the interest rate, borrowing money will become cheaper. As more people borrow money, there will be more spending in the economy, which will bring up prices, and we have higher inflation. So what are the main things that Powell talked about? Well, first of all, he obviously said the interest rate remains the same. Second of all, in December, the unemployment rate was around 4.4%. The interest rate remains the same. Inflation, he said, still remains slightly elevated. And that was the most negative thing he said. But overall, as we know, he's trying to keep emotions out of it. But he did acknowledge that inflation is still higher than we would want. And of course, therefore, he would not want to reduce the interest rates. So in my opinion, a very good decision has been made at the moment. He also said that inflation in the goods sector was quite high, while inflation in the services sector was quite low. We actually have seen disinflation in the services sector. Okay, that's all for the FOMC meeting. And overall, it is good for the economy. It might not be the best bullish thing for Bitcoin, because if we have lower rates, it's good for the markets. But long term, this is a good decision. Now, if we go to this video here that Trump posted, basically he was asked, how is the US dollar doing? And let's quickly watch the video together.
Well, Mr. President, with the current value of the dollar, do you think it's declined too much?
No, I think it's great. I mean, the value of the dollar, look at the business we're doing. No, dollar's doing great.
So he's saying the dollar is doing great, but let's look at the facts. Well, the facts actually show us that the dollar is not doing good at all. Here we can see that the dollar is going down drastically, and actually after he said that in the interview, the dollar dropped another 1% in the next couple of hours. So since Trump came into office, which was on the 20th of January 2025, so pretty much a year ago from now, the dollar has dropped almost 12% in value in 1 year. Now, is that a good thing? Well, in general, no, but Trump wants that to happen. So there are benefits to it, and we're going to talk about these benefits now. First of all, the US government has a lot of debt, okay? It is the most indebted country in terms of dollars. It has almost $39 trillion of national debt, meaning it has borrowed a lot of money, right? And at the end of the year, the US government has to pay back $9.5 trillion of national debt. If they do not pay that back, their government will go into bankruptcy. So in order to pay back the national debt, lowering the US dollar will allow them to pay it back more easily, because it will be cheaper for them to then take out new loans, and it will be cheaper for them to pay back these old debts, simply because the dollar is now worth less than it was before. And that is the main reason why Trump is trying to lower rates, to prevent a catastrophic recession happening. Now, to lower rates, of course, he wants to reduce the interest rates, but we cannot reduce the interest rates too much, because this will cause inflation. Now, another reason why he's doing this is to bring production into the US. So I'm going to show you this chart here, and this is showing us the production index. So it's just showing us how much goods are produced inside the US. And we can see here that over the last 30 years, pretty much 25 years, we have not really gone up. So this guy is saying it pretty well, that the general industrial production index is at the same level as it was in 2007. We have not gone up. And why is that? Well, because companies like Apple and big US companies, they are producing in China because it's cheaper to produce there. And we know that China and Japan have manipulated their currencies to keep the value of the currencies low. if the value of the Chinese currency or the yen is lower, that will make it cheaper for other companies, like foreign companies, to buy their currency and therefore to do business with them. Now, if Trump is devaluing the dollar, this will mean that US companies, it will be more expensive for them to, let's say, buy Japanese yen, and therefore more expensive for them to operate outside the US if they want to build anything using dollars, if they want to buy anything using dollars. And this will basically force them to bring production back to the US. This will, of course, increase the jobs in the US, and eventually also this will benefit the US overall. And while it may increase prices in the short run because the dollar can now buy less, in the long run it's good for the economy. It will benefit the US economy and jobs and production in the US. And what I'm trying to get you to understand is that as the dollar keeps losing value, your money loses value if you hold dollars. So the best thing you can do is hold assets. And we've seen silver and gold and the S&P 500 really exploding over the last couple of weeks. I think gold is now at $4,400 per ounce. Silver is at like $115 per ounce. The S&P is hitting new all-time highs. And house prices are also increasing. So real assets are increasing. As the dollar loses value, people try to safeguard the value of their money, right? They want to hedge against the inflation. And the way to do that is to buy real assets which are not directly tied to the value of the dollar. So things like gold are a good thing to buy, or silver, or real estate, right? This protects the value of their money. Now, why does Bitcoin not go up then? Because Bitcoin is seen as more risky by these traditional investors, and by most people in general, Bitcoin is seen as very risky compared to gold. But eventually Bitcoin will see more adoption, and Bitcoin should also then behave similar to gold and silver and go up when we have higher inflation. And with that being said, I hope you guys liked the video. If you take one thing away, then it is to buy real assets like Bitcoin, like gold, like property, and do not keep too much dollars and fiat currency in the bank. I hope you guys liked this video. I did like it. If you did like it, leave a like, leave a subscribe. See you next time. Bye.